Good morning. My name is Chasen Ishii, Chairperson of the Authority. I'd like to call to order the July 3rd, 2024 public hearing of the Hawaii Community Development Authority, and the time is now 9:00 a.m.
Thank you, Chair. The Hawaii Community Development Authority is holding today's public hearing both virtually on Zoom and in person. The Zoom link details were included in the public hearing notice. Therefore, members of the public are welcome to join us on Zoom or at the physical meeting site at the American Brewery Building, 547 Queen Street, second floor boardroom, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96813. The ACD and communications staff is hosting the Zoom portion of this hearing. Once this public hearing begins, everyone will be muted for clear audio. Board members, if you have any comments or questions, please unmute yourselves to speak. It is important that all individuals clearly state their name each time prior to speaking. If you are providing verbal public testimony, your name will be called accordingly. If you are attending in person, when your name is called, please come to the front of the room. And if you're attending virtually, please turn your video on only while providing your testimony. In either case, please clearly state your name and affiliation and proceed with your testimony. Oral testimony will be limited to 3 minutes and will be accepted only on matters directly related to the public hearing subject. If the authority's connection for the remote meeting is lost, the hearing will be recessed until the connection is restored. If the connection cannot be restored within 30 minutes, the hearing will be reconvened on Friday, July 5th at 2024 at 9 a.m. at the same physical location and virtual Zoom link as today's hearing. Thank you, Chair.
Let the record reflect the following Kailailoa members are present. Vice Chair Higa.
Present.
Secretary Apo.
Present.
Member Miranda Johnson.
Present.
Member Anderson.
Present.
Member Strite.
Present.
Member Evans. Oh, she's logging on. I'll come back to her. Member Ray. Oh. Member Evans.
Here, present and alone.
Excellent.
We-
Do we have quorum?
We have quorum. Mikiala Lidstone is excused.
Excellent. Individuals from the public who have requested to provide verbal public testimony on a specific agenda item are on standby and will be permitted to provide testimony respectively. Will the counsel for the applicant make their appearances at this time?
Hi, good morning, Chair Ishii, Executive Director Nakamoto, members of the ACD staff. Brian Kang appearing on behalf of Hunt Communities Hawaii. Morning.
Legal basis and purpose. Today's hearing is being convened under the provisions of chapter 15-215, the Kailailoa Community Development District Rules, and 15-219 Rules of Practice and Procedure, Hawaii Administrative Rules, and section 206E 5.6 Hawaii Revised Statutes to consider the following matter. The applicant is Hunt Communities Hawaii LLC. The development permit number is KAL 23-005. The application project is Hunt Parcel 10 Improvements. Tax map key is 9-1-013-097. Project location is 91-1049 Enterprise Avenue, Kapolei, Hawaii, 96707. The project description. The applicant is proposing renovation to the interior and exterior of the existing Quonset hut warehouse building on parcel 10. Interior renovation shall include upgrades and repairs to the aging structural, mechanical, and electrical systems, including improvements to egress corridors and fire sprinkler alterations. Exterior work will include repainting, warehouse door replacements, and lighting repairs and replacements. Site work will include essential upgrades to the aging electrical infrastructure for connection to equal lines and security improvements to secure the perimeter of parcel 10. Improvements are to include the installation of new fencing to augment the site's existing fencing. Modification request. In conjunction with this development permit, the applicant is also requesting the following variance from the Kailailoa Community Development District Rules. Number 1, increasing the permitted height of the proposed fences along Randolph Street and Enterprise Avenue from 3 feet to 8 feet. Number 2, increasing the permitted height of the VIP towing site fence from 3 feet to 6 feet. And authorizing the use of chain link security fencing material for all of the fences. The material will include a black colored embedded mesh fabric to cover the chain link fence. The applicant will be making a presentation.
I think that's,
Yeah, sorry.
Sure.
Legal notice, the public hearing notice was published in the Honolulu Star Advertiser, Maui News, the Garden Isle Hawaii Tribune Herald, and West Hawaii today on Friday, May 3rd, 2024. A presentation public hearing for this development application was held on June 5th, 2024, and the variance public hearing was held on June 6th, 2024. Chair.
Procedures for the hearing. Let me briefly explain our procedures for today's decision-making hearing. Prior to this hearing, authority members received both the HCDA staff's and applicants' proposed findings of fact, conclusions of law, and decision in order. First, HCDA staff will present its recommendations. Then the applicant will be afforded up to 15 minutes to present their closing arguments and present any additional facts not already included in the respective proposed findings of facts, conclusions of law, and decision in order. Finally, we will hear testimony from the public before continuing on to decision making. Only members of the authority and the executive director will be permitted to ask questions of the staff, the applicant, or individuals providing testimony. I'll be acting as the presiding officer for this hearing, and if there's any questions, are there any questions to these procedures? If not, we will now begin our proceedings. ACDA's Director of Planning and Development, Ryan Tam, will now present ACDA staff proposed findings of fact, conclusions of law, and decision in order. Right?
Good morning, Chair Ishii, members of.
Sorry, excuse me, Brian. Before I go on, I just want to make one correction to the modification request. I think I read 3 modification requests, but the second one was increasing the permitted height of VIP towing site fence. So that was taken off.
yes, that's correct.
Right. So I just want to make sure I corrected that
On record,
in the record. Sorry, Brian.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Good morning, Chair Ishii, members of the authority, members of the public. I'll summarize the staff's proposed findings, facts, conclusion, law, and decision order. I will note that the staff's proposed findings of fact, conclusion, law, and decision order was the one that was distributed in your packet, along with the highlighted annotations showing the source of the relevant finding. I did want to acknowledge again the staff effort. Again, this was all led by Ms. Shelly Oka Wong, but it is a team effort. You know, we have a very experienced staff. Sari, Janet, and Nancy, who all pitched in with this also, and of course Renee, our administrative, and also thanks to Tommy Lynn and our man for helping us. Again, just a brief summary, findings of fact, starting on page 2, numbers 1 through 20 is the procedural history, including the agency letters. Starting on page 6, numbers 21 through 37, that discusses the presentation hearing and the modification hearing, the variance hearing. Starting on page 10, items 38 through 47 discuss the Kalailoa master plan and Hunt's history in Kalailoa. Starting on page 12, items 48 through 56 is an overview of parcel 10 and the request improvements. Starting on page 13, items 55 through 70 is a project description. Page 17, items 71 through 98 discuss cultural and historic preservation. Starting on page 23, items 99 through 101 discusses infrastructure. Also starting on page 23, items 102 and 104 discuss the government agency and utility comments. Starting on page 26, items 105 to 136 discuss the variance. Again, the request is for the 8-foot high fence. Starting on page 33, items 1 37 to 174 discusses compliance with HRL 206C, that's the district rules and policies. Starting on page 41, items 175 to 176 discusses HAR section 15215-78E. That's the findings required. And then starting on page 42, items 177 to 181 discusses climate resiliency. The conclusions of law starts on page 42. The decision and order starts on page 45. On page 46, items 1 through 3 is requirements for a glint and glare study for any photovoltaic panels, as well as compliance with agency comments. Items 4 through 6 discusses the historic preservation requirements. Starting on page 47, item number 7 discusses future infrastructure improvements. And on page 48, items 8 through 10 is other miscellaneous administrative elements. Subject to your questions, that is our staff report.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions on staff's proposed findings of fact, conclusions of law, and decision and order? Do I have any questions for Brian? If none, then we'll proceed to closing arguments. The applicant will now have 15 minutes to make closing arguments. Members, please.
Thank you, Chair Shi. On behalf of Hunt Communities Hawaii, Hunt has no objections to the staff proposed decision order and requests the board to adopt the staff proposed decision order as its own final decision order for this proceeding. On behalf of Hunt, again, thank you very much to the board and the staff for all the work on this and all the time and efforts for this project for Kalamua. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Members, do you have any questions for the applicant's closing arguments? If none, then we will proceed to public testimony. Is there any public testimony? None. Since the notice of the public hearing was published on Friday, May 3rd, 2024, and written testimony invited as of today, the ACDA has received 5 written testimonies, 5 in favor and 0 in opposition. We will now take verbal public testimony, which we don't have any at this time, my understanding.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't need to read all that. We will now move to the deliberation. We will now continue with the deliberations and decision-making. Members, please indicate yes or no to signify that you are prepared to deliberate after the presentation of various public hearings held on June 5th and 6th, 2024. Let the record reflect the following Kalailo members are prepared to deliberate on this item. Vice Chair Higa.
Ready.
Member Apo.
Ready.
Member Miranda Johnson.
Ready.
Member Anderson.
Ready.
Member Strites.
Ready.
Member Evans.
ready,
Member Ray, did Member Ray join us? No, excused. And Member Lidstone is excused. After reviewing the record, which includes HCDA staff's recommendations, applicants' evidence and arguments, and also having considered public testimony, is there a motion for the authority to adopt the HCDA staff's finding of fact, conclusions of law, and decision in order for development permit KAL 23-005 for the Hunt Parcel 10 improvement projects? Do I have a motion?
Member Higa so moves.
Do I have a second?
Second. Member Apo.
The item has been moved by Member Higa and seconded by Member Apo. Is there any further discussions on this motion? If not, I will ask Ryan to take the roll call on the vote.
Chair Shi,
Yes.
Vice Chair Higa,
Yes.
Secretary Poe,
Yes.
Member Miranda Johnson,
Yes.
Member Anderson,
Yes.
Member Strites,
Yes.
Member Evans,
yes,
and Member Ray is not here, and Member Lindstone is excused. So that's 7 ayes, 0 nays, and 2 excused.
Thank you. Does the applicant's counsel want to stipulate to the approved findings of fact, conclusions of law, decision in order? Or would you like to reserve your right to file exceptions on or before Wednesday, July 10th, 2024?
Hunt Communities Hawaii will stipulate to the decision order, Chair.
Thank you. On behalf of ACDA, authority members and its staff, I want to thank you for your attendance. Public hearing is now closed. And the time is 9:16. Thank you.
Thank you, and
We'll reconvene at 9:30, right?
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, members.